Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate of Life with Kevin Riles. This week, who should you include in your real estate investment network? What are the types of people who should be in that database to make you a successful real estate investor? We're going to talk about that for a couple of minutes. So, DJ, hit that music, please.
Support for this program comes from the Digital Broadcasting Network, presenting podcasts and web series from everyday people who have an extraordinary passion to make the world a better place.
Hey, welcome back to the Real Estate of Life with Kevin Riles. This is your boy, Kevin Riles, coming to you from the Worldwide Leadership, I'm making up stuff now, Channel 713 Studios, channel713.com. Check out my boy, Mr. Producer, who, ironically, Mr. Producer, I went to a conference, I forgot to tell you this, in Chicago when I took the CCIM exam, and there were people that listened to my podcast there from Houston, and they all want to know, like, who shot JR? Who is Mr. Producer? It's like, it's become a thing. I'm just like, you know. So one day, remember, like, who shot JR? I don't know if, I think Dallas either went off the air after that or they fell off real bad after that. So once y'all find out who Mr. Producer is, it's just, the podcast is over. So with that being said, this week I wanted to talk to you guys about, I've gotten some emails this week into my office from people that receive my e-blast. And if you want to sign up for the e-blast, feel free to email me at kevin@kevinrilescommercial.com, kevin@kevinrilescommercial.com. That's not only e-blast that I sent out the link to the video / audio of the podcast, but also I sent out a weekly list of all of the multifamily opportunities in the Houston area as far as properties for sale. And then I send out some of my listings on occasion as well. But I got an email back last week asking me, hey, I'm getting into real estate investment. Who do I need to have surround me? What type of folks or businesses and things do I need to have? And so who do investors basically need to include in their database when they're getting started, or not even when they're getting started, but just develop? I have in one of my books, I talk about people asking me how you've been successful in sales. And one of my mantras is that you're only as good in life and in business. You're only as good as your database. You're only as good as those who you're around and people that you have that you can call on. And so to be a successful real estate investor, you have to have a really good database. And so as parenthetical reference, just like I require my students at Prairie View, I want to state that although I've done this and explained this before as far as having a good database, the terms I'm going to use I actually got from a really good book that I suggest, other than my own, which is The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller, the guy that started Keller Williams Realty. The Millionaire Real Estate Investor by Gary Keller. And that book talks, basically, it's a best practices book. It's not a lot of, it's some blocking and tackling as far as like legitimate things, 1 step, 2 step, 3 stuff, but it's more so a best practices book. And so when he gets to the subject of your investor network or your database network, he gets to these kind of 3 circles that he talks about. And I'm kind of going to go over those circles and use those as kind of a summary of some of the terms. And so your outer circle in his book, which I truly believe is one of your most important circles, is the most important circle, actually, from a cost standpoint, is your service circle. So your outer circle, as far as your network is concerned, if you can imagine, you're in the middle, for those of you that are listening, and you have 3 circles that go around you. For those of you that are watching on video, if you're in the middle, you have 3 circles going around you. So your outer circle, he calls the service circle. And in the service circle, you have, and I'm going to say service circle, service database, but these are folks that you need to have relationships with, have good relationships with. It's quite a few. I'm going to kind of cherry pick, but these are your maintenance technicians, your painters, your electricians, your carpenters, your tile companies, your appraisers, your inspectors, leasing agents, builders, appliance rental companies, cleaning services, plumbers, roofers, concrete companies, insurance agents, financial planners. These are the folks that provide services to you as a real estate investor. And I can tell you now, you don't want to be establishing these relationships after you've purchased a property. right? So even if you have 0 investment properties right now, and you're like, well, what can I do to get started? What I would tell you to do is start, going to Home Depot and networking with contractors. I would tell you to start going to investment networking, not just networking with other investors, but networking with service providers and listening to what other investors have to say about particular contractors or particular agents and things of that nature. Start networking with going to development and landscapers. And when you're driving in a neighborhood that's being built, especially here in the Houston area, and you see framing being done, stop and get somebody's card and say, oh, y'all are framers, can I get a card? When you see the guys doing the rough end carpentry work, stop and get their information, because I will tell you that the time that you're trying to find those, you can never find them once you actually need them. You need that database to start early. And so I highly recommend, this to me is almost as important as finding the property, is finding these service providers. He mentions financial planners and CPAs and things of that nature, but yes, you need those folks as well, even beforehand, so you can say, hey, my goal is to purchase commercial real estate investment or investment property, even if it's residential. What do I need to be aware of based on my financial goals, based on tax law, things of that nature? So that outer circle, that service circle, is hugely important. And my recommendation, again, is not to start that once you have a property identified or once you have it under contract. Not saying that you can't do it, it just makes it way harder. Just if you already know you have 2 plumbers that have good references and you have a plumbing issue, it's so much easier to call that plumber than to get on to Angie's List or some of these other services, which are great services, by the way, and try to make a relationship with someone new. And so your service circle, to me, is your make it or break it. And the other reason it's make it or break it is because most of those services cost, and you need to have a sense of what your costs are. And so knowing who those folks are, I think, are important, because they will have a direct effect on whether you make money on your investment or not. So that's your service circle. The other support circle that the other circle he talks about is support circle. Now, who are your support circle? Your support circle are your real estate agents, me, other investors, again, accountants, contractors, property managers, attorneys, lenders. And these are the folks that support you in what you're doing. So obviously real estate agents can assist you in finding property. They can assist you in managing property. Your lenders finance the property. Attorneys can keep you from getting sued or sue on your behalf, or just give you legal advice as to make sure that you don't get sued. A good property manager is worth its weight in gold. A good property manager. I just sold a 24-unit apartment complex. My client is going to make money on this apartment complex. He had plans to renovate it, but he's going to make money simply on the fact that he is hiring a property manager. Simply on the fact that he is hiring a property manager, because the previous owner self-managed and he did a horrible job, horrible job. So simply by the fact that he has hired a competent property management company, it makes a huge difference as to how he's going to. So when people talk about value add, for those of you that are familiar with the term, a lot of times people want to buy value add properties. It means that if I add value, then my profit is going to go even higher because I've added some type of value. Typically when people refer to value add, they mean like physical value add. If I upgrade the units, if I put nice tile instead of stick tile, if I redo the roof, then I'm going to get more profit. Well, people don't know that you can value add in management systems as well. You can value add by how you manage the property. And so having a good property management company is critical, whether you're doing commercial real estate investment or residential real estate investment as well. And then I think contractors are self-explanatory. But I will say this. Have you ever had a good plumber or a good handyman? You use them for years, and then whatever reason, they either go away. I don't know if they change the number, you can't find them anymore. They get so busy that they're not as good as they used to be. And so having a cacophony, notice that word, Mr. Producer, cacophony. I use my SAT words every once in a while. Now, could I spell it is the question. That's a cliffhanger. Can I spell cacophony? And the answer is no, I can't. But but having a lot of contractors available to you in different ones, having 4 or 5 or 3 or 4 handymen, general purpose handymen in your database is hugely important. Don't put all your eggs in one basket. That's one of the, I had Craig Cassell on My Mentor, the guy that got me into real estate, literally got me into real estate. He was always a big proponent of having multiple people, multiple floor guys, so that you're not dependent on one. You might lean on one more than the other, but you needed to have a choice just in case from a pricing standpoint and one gets busy. That's important as well. So I talked about your service circle. Before that, this is your support circle. And then here, your inner circle. Your inner circle are your consultants, partners, and mentors. Consultants, partners, and mentors. Mentors are folks that you look up to or look to be able to bounce stuff off of. Mentorship in general, just in life, is hugely important. If you're always the smartest guy in the room, in my opinion, then you're doing yourself a disservice. You need someone that has had some experience in and around the things that you're interested in, as far as in life, and also especially in real estate. And there are people out there that will mentor. I know that there are paid mentorship programs, and I guess what I would say is I end up mentoring folks, and I don't charge, so I have a kind of a fundamental issue with that. However, if you don't have access to people that have more experience than you, then I think that's worth paying someone for their time to show you how things are done. So I'm not completely anti to it, but I think some people are. I guess what I have issue with is some people are paying for mentorship that they could easily read a pamphlet for and be okay. And so I guess it's the quality of the mentorship. Mr. Producer and I just had a quick conversation about partners, and how many partners do you need to do a deal, and things of that nature. And so your inner circle of partners, and partnering with people, some people partner based on how they feel comfortable with people that they're partnering with. In other words, they have to be friends or family or folks. There are some deals I do that the partners only met each other when they got ready to close, or when they had the partnership meeting. And so how you want to partner, but in order to be successful long term into what we call scale and scale up, you will have to definitely, I think, at some point in time, partner with people to do larger deals, to do more deals. And you have to look at that. And the most successful investors I know have had partners. So they went through their partnership phase and sold off, and now they have enough capital where they're doing their own thing. But I think everybody goes through a partnership phase. And then just various consultants. I talked about RUBS in the last podcast, the system that allows you to allocate expenses to your tenants if you invest in multifamily. Well, there are RUBS consultants out there as well, but just consultants in general, that's not necessarily a bad word. And so you have your service circle, your support circle, and your inner circle, and you're in the middle. And I can't tell you, and I call it database, but it's the same thing. I can't tell you how important having those before you need them is critical to being successful real estate investor. So as you move forward in investing in real estate, make sure that you're on a daily basis using these circles. And by the way, all of these circles can provide leads to your next opportunity. That's one thing that we don't talk about. You can get a lead for a real estate investment from anyone, a contractor. Hey man, I saw this property. The lady she was trying to decide whether she wanted to fix it up or sell it. And I went over there and I told her how much it's going to be, and she's thinking about sell it. So, you might be interested. Or your attorney, hey, couple's going through a divorce. They want to sell their property and just sell it quick. Even title companies, hey, this property we were working on had a title issue, we fixed it, and they're thinking about selling it now. So these are all leads for potential opportunities. So the bigger your circles are, the more people know what you do. Hey, I'm a real estate investor, I'm looking for opportunity. That feeds. So it's kind of a circle around you for a support standpoint, a service standpoint, but also a lead generation standpoint for real estate opportunities. So didn't go long this week, but I wanted to just encourage you guys to constantly be building your real estate investment circle. So before I go, I just wanted to mention to all of you that, again, email me with questions, and those questions most likely will become topics on our podcast. You can email me at kevin@kevinrylescommercial.com. That's kevin@kevinrylescommercial.com For those of you listening, I do know how to spell my last name, and that is Riles, or Robert Igloo Larry Edward Sam. Kevin at kevinrilescommercial.com. So email me with questions, and you never know, that question might become a podcast topic. And if you are needing some commercial real estate services, give us a call at 281-403-3700, 281-403-3700. And for those of you who's like, you know what, he went short, so he's trying to kind of advertise at the end, you're right. Yeah, you're right. All right. With that being said, I made Mr. Producer laugh. With that being said, I will see you guys next week. Hey, thanks for listening as always. Do you have questions about any of the topics I'm talking about? If you have questions, let me know. Email me at kevin@kevinriles.com. Again, that's kevin@kevinriles.com. I'm going to do a podcast just on the questions that you guys are sending me. So feel free to send them to me. Again, that's kevin@kevinriles.com.